All right, so the second book I want to talk to you about is called The Extensor Mechanism, A Comprehensive Review. And what I've done is put all the information together to help you form a picture so that you'll have a better understanding of how the extensor mechanism works in conjunction with all of these other components. So on the front of the booklet, you can see it has described individual and combined muscle components. There's research, there's quick scan QR codes, and there's a worksheet in the back, and much, much more. So this is designed to help you to understand what's going on with this pretty complex piece of anatomy. Along with that, you get a depiction. It's the same on both sides, and it's laminated. It's on an acrylic stand, and it opens up in the middle, and so you can tuck this chart in. So we're going to go through page by page. We're going to talk about why it's a mechanical wonder. This is an amazing piece of anatomy, and why it's so cool, and then why it's so complicated. Over here, bit by bit, we're going to go through the anatomy. So we're going to start with the extensor digitorum as it starts at the lateral epicondyle, and we're going to go over it bit by bit as it crosses over structures to end up in the finger. So what we do is deconstruct, show pictures, and explain along the way. Then we talk about the remaining components of the extensor mechanism, and then a little bit of research. There's conflicting information on the ORL, so I included that as well. Over here we have the mechanics of opening and closing the hand. It's going to give you a good description along the way, whether you're opening, closing, halfway, full, in between. Where is the extensor mechanism, and how is it coordinating and working with the muscles to create a fist or to open your fist? It goes into very good detail to help you form a good clinical picture. Here we have a little bit of more information on some of the other contributing muscles, such as the EIP. It does some pretty neat things, as well as the lumbricals. We already know that the lumbricals are the champions, but there's some research to show some other cool things that it does, and I'll let you read that. Over here we have the angle. What happens when the extensor mechanism, or when these tendons cross over the MP or go around the MP and end up in the finger? What does it do to the hand? How does it help us when we close and open? When you get a good idea of what's going on with the angle of pull, you will absolutely visualize how the structure is working. But then we need to look at the muscles. What do the muscles do? We have palmar and dorsal interossei. The dorsal interossei are greatly important for fine motor function. They have different contributions and insertions than the palmar interossei. So we're going to go into detail about what these muscles are and how they contribute to a full picture as it relates to the EM. This is a fun one because at the very end, we're going to look at your fingers and look, for instance, at the index. Here it has a lumbrical tendon contribution and a palmar interossei. But when you get to the middle finger, it has two dorsal interossei and one lumbrical tendon. So they change from finger to finger, and that does impact how we move our hand. That being said, there's always research that contradicts some of these findings. Now, if you look at this chart here, this is also really fun. It's a review of the combined motion mechanics. So for instance, we know that when the lumbricals activate, the FDP relaxes. Things work in unison, and then they work against each other. They work together and they work against. And so it's really cool to look at the chart and kind of see what a wonder it is for these pieces of anatomy to work as they need to help have function in the hand. The last, or this is a quiz page. You're just going to fill in the blank on, see what you know about the extensor mechanism. And at the bottom, I want you to scan this with your phone and we can draw the extensor mechanism together. I've made it super simple. On the very last page, we have information on each of those components and how they impact the finger. So if you hurt your terminal tendon, what can happen? It can cause osteophyte formation. It can cause or contribute to mallet finger. These are all the things that are impacting the terminal tendon. These are the things that impact the triangular ligament. So it gives you a good understanding of how important every component is in this mechanism, and how if you have just a little bit of impairment, it can affect the whole continuum. So I really hope that this has been helpful. I hope this chart will be helpful for you and useful for you to explain to your patients and have a better understanding of how we can treat the hand based on this information on this amazing muscular component.